In one of Istanbul's forgotten suburban neighborhoods, a young man named Murat was sitting quietly at a street corner with his friends. They were passionately arguing about a meaningless topic. Just one of those everyday conversations young people have. The night was cold. Flickering street lamps barely lit the narrow streets. From afar, dogs were barking, and the wind was moving through the old apartment buildings of the neighborhood. And then suddenly, a gunshot echoed from a black luxury car slowly passing through the neighborhood. Everything froze. Panic instantly took over the corner. The young men threw themselves to the ground in fear, while the car quickly disappeared into the darkness. For a few seconds, no one could move. Then slowly, they began to stand up. But one of them didn't. Murat? No answer. Murat, come on, get up. Still no movement. A dark stain was spreading beneath his body. Blood. Their faces turned ghostly pale. They realized Murat had been shot. In panic, one of them called an ambulance, while the others tried to keep him conscious. Minutes later, sirens filled the entire neighborhood, and medical teams rushed Murat to the hospital. As the ambulance moved, Murat stared at the ceiling. The siren sounds felt like they were coming closer and then fading away. On that thin line between life and death, a person's mind is filled with all the dreams left unfinished. And Murat had many unfinished dreams. Murat was a quiet, mysterious young man, tall, dark-skinned, and introverted. He didn't speak unnecessarily. There was a girl he deeply loved in the same neighborhood, Elif. She was the only beautiful thing left in Murat's exhausted life. Murat dreamed of marrying her one day, escaping those suffocating streets they grew up in, and building a peaceful future together. He had studied electronics in Eskişehir, but like many young people in the country, he couldn't find a job in his field. So he worked the streets of Istanbul as a motorcycle courier, just trying to bring food home. But Murat had a secret, a shameful addiction he hid from everyone. Online gambling, all his dreams, all his hopes for the future, was slowly getting trapped inside betting slips and gambling apps. At first, he thought he would win. Then he believed he could win back what he lost. Then he completely lost control. Because desperate people no longer chase money. They chase miracles. Every new bet felt like the last chance to change his life. But with every loss, he wasn't just losing money. He was losing a piece of his soul. Banks blacklisted him. His debts grew. Every time his phone rang, he felt suffocated. Even message notifications scared him. At night, he sometimes stared at the ceiling and asked himself, "Am I really the guilty one? Did the system that so easily creates addiction bear no responsibility? Why did the state chase drug dealers, but allow online gambling, platforms to destroy people's lives?" Maybe this was the biggest lie of the modern world. First, they sold people hope. Then they took their lives along with that hope. Murat had started to hate himself. At night, he would look in the mirror, but couldn't even stand his own eyes. Life no longer gave him any pleasure. Nothing excited him anymore, except Elif. For now. But Murat had another problem, a far more dangerous one. After exhausting all possible loans from banks and people around him, he had crossed a point of no return. He borrowed money from a loan shark. The man's name was Ader, and people in the neighborhood feared him more than the police. Ader was ruthless, a cold-blooded psychopath who could commit any crime for money. Murat managed to pay the first debt somehow, but the second one disappeared in gambling overnight. And now, the payment day had come. Murat was afraid. Sometimes he even thought about death, but he wasn't brave enough to kill himself. People sometimes don't want to live, but still fear death. Murat was exactly like that. Ada's office looked like an ordinary car rental shop from the outside, but everyone knew illegal business was happening behind it. Even the police suspected it. They just couldn't catch him in the act. That night, Murat entered trembling. Ada was sitting behind his desk, silently smoking. "Did you bring my money?" he asked calmly. Murat lowered his head. "No, brother." Ada's face instantly hardened. After a few seconds of silence, he leaned back and smiled. "You know, Murat, being a courier could actually make you rich." Murat didn't understand what he meant, but he still asked. "How?" Ida began explaining. Drugs, cocaine, weed, deliveries to wealthy clients across Istanbul, easy money for simple transport jobs. His debt would be erased. He could even earn more. When Murat heard this, he felt nauseous. He couldn't breathe for a moment, because for the first time in his life, he felt he might actually become a truly bad person. He stood up. Just as he turned toward the door, Ida's voice came from behind. People say I'm ruthless, Murat, but life is more ruthless than me. Murat couldn't tell if it was a threat or a life lesson. Maybe both. While Murat was drowning in darkness, Elif was fighting her own battle. Her father was an alcoholic. Her mother constantly told her to find a rich man and escape this life. And there was Ergun, a wealthy young man from the neighborhood obsessed with Elif. Every time he saw her, he tried to talk to her. But Elif always changed direction the moment she saw him. Murat knew nothing about this. All he wanted was to rescue Elif from that broken home and make her the queen of his own home. That dream had become his reason to live, his reason to keep fighting, even if it destroyed him. Because sometimes people walk into darkness just to make the person they love happy. As pressure closed in from all sides, Murat began to realize he had no choice left. Ida kept calling, "Bring my money," or "Accept my offer." Every time his phone rang, Murat felt suffocated, as if he was seeing an approaching disaster on the screen. But there was something Murat didn't know. The police were already watching him. Narcotics Commissioner Nevzat had been after Ida for months. Patient, careful, almost invisible, like a fox. And now, Nevzat believed Murat was the key to reaching Ada. But Murat knew nothing of this. He was just trying to survive. One more day, one more debt, one more fear. His closest friend Doğukan often met him at the street corner. Doğukan liked talking. He would constantly tell stories, and Murat would pretend to listen. Then he would laugh and say, "What are you even talking about, man?" But this time was different. This time Murat spoke. One night, he couldn't hold it anymore and told Doğukan everything. His debts, gambling, Ida, the drug offer. Doğukan's face slowly turned pale. "Man, what have you been through?" he said quietly. Then he buried his head in his hands. "Why didn't you tell me earlier? Maybe we could have found a way." Murat lowered his eyes. "What am I going to do now?" he whispered. Doğukan took a deep breath. "This is bad. That guy Ada is a real piece of trash. He won't leave you alone. But that job he offered is death. Prison. Either a grave or a cell." After a moment of silence, he asked, "Does your family know?" Murat shook his head. No, that was one of his heaviest burdens. Sometimes people stay silent just to protect their families from pain. But some silences lead straight to disaster. The next day, Doğukan called Murat excitedly. "I think I found a solution. Come to the corner now." A small hope was born in Murat. Maybe he could actually get out. But when he arrived, he saw Ergun standing next to Doğukan, and his hope slowly died. Ergun looked tense but confident. Doğukan spoke. "Look, Ergun will solve your debt problem." Murat looked confused. "How?" Ergun took a deep breath. "I love Elif, Murat." Murat's expression changed. "If you stay out of her life, I'll pay all your debts." Everything went silent. Then Murat exploded in anger. He threw a punch. Ergun fell to the ground. Then he turned to Doğukan. "You sold me out?" Shouts, swearing, rage echoed through the neighborhood. Doğukan and Ergun quickly walked away, while Murat collapsed on the sidewalk. He was breathless. Something inside him broke. Maybe his pride. Maybe his hope. Maybe the last part of him still trying to be good. Sometimes people walk into darkness not out of desperation, but because their pride has been shattered. Minutes later, he got on his motorcycle. This time there was no fear in his eyes, only anger. He went straight to Ida's office. Ida was eating. When Murat entered, he smirked. Well, Murat, did you bring my money?" Murat looked up. "No, brother. I couldn't find the money." Silence. Then he continued, "But I came to accept your offer." Ada studied him carefully. "I'll carry whatever you want. Me and my bike are at your service. Just let me earn money. I'm tired of being crushed." Ada leaned back slowly. A sly satisfaction appeared on his face. "Good boy. You made the right choice." Then he took a drag from his cigarette. "People say I'm ruthless, Murat, but life is more ruthless than me." After a pause, he added, "But be careful. Too much ambition destroys a man." Murat said nothing, because sometimes people feel the truth, even when it comes from a criminal. When he left the office that night, Istanbul looked darker. There was no turning back. The arrow had left the bow, and Murat had put himself on an irreversible path. His first delivery came a few days later, a small black package. It looked like an ordinary parcel, but the moment Murat held it, he felt its weight wasn't from drugs, but from sin. The address was a luxury villa in Tarabya. Istanbul had two faces. On one side, people struggling to survive. On the other, people drowning in luxury and emptiness. And Murat was now a shadow moving between these two worlds. As he rode his bike through the night wind, he thought, maybe everyone is addicted to something. Some to drugs, some to gambling, some to money, some to power. People looked different, but their emptiness was the same. On the way, he was stopped by police. His heart tightened. One officer signaled him to pull over. Murat slowed down, then suddenly accelerated and tried to escape. Sirens exploded behind him. Police cars chased him. He raced through narrow streets, weaving through traffic, running against death. But Murat was skilled. Years of courier work in Istanbul had taught him survival. As the chase continued, fear turned into emptiness, because sometimes when fear becomes too strong, it disappears. He finally hid in an old garage, breathing heavily. With shaking hands, he removed the license plate. He couldn't use it anymore. He decided to deliver the package on foot. At the villa, a young man opened the door, well-dressed, clean face, probably from a good family, but there was a deep emptiness under his eyes. As Murat handed over the package, he looked at him for a moment and thought, maybe we are all slowly killing ourselves in different ways. The man noticed Murat's fear. Are you okay? He asked. Murat just nodded. He went inside, drank a glass of water, and left silently. As the door closed, he felt something he couldn't explain. Was it shame, conscience, or the weight of crossing a point of no return? That night, he stood under the shower for a long time, water running down his face. He couldn't look at himself in the mirror anymore. Because people sometimes fear not their crimes, but getting used to them. Days passed. Deliveries continued. His debts were clearing. He was earning money, but peace was gone. Because easy money fills pockets but empties the soul. One day, police stopped him again. This time he couldn't escape. Commissioner Nevzat took the package. Murat's eyes widened in fear. He thought everything was over. But Nevzat spoke calmly. We don't want you, Murat. We want Ada. Murat stayed silent. We can't solve this by arresting you. Another kid will replace you tomorrow. We want the people running this system. Those words sank deep into Murat. For the first time, someone didn't look at him only as a criminal. Then Nevzat continued, help us. Otherwise you'll spend the best years of your life in prison. Murat closed his eyes. Now he had two choices. Continue working for the crime network, or help the police and risk death. Both paths led to fear. Both led to loss. Life does not always offer good choices, only less bad ones. And Murat nodded helplessly. He accepted. The plan was set. A hidden camera was placed on Murat. He would go to Ida's office and record everything. His hands were shaking as he entered. His heart felt like it would explode. He started shouting at Ida. I take all the risk, but you pay me nothing. Ada stood up angrily. Watch your mouth, boy. There are people here who kill for this money. Murat lowered his head. He had obtained the evidence. When he left, his knees were shaking. Nevzat placed a hand on his shoulder. It's over, Murat. Everything is over. The next day, police raided the office. Ida and his men were arrested. Murat avoided prison. His young age, first offense, and cooperation saved him. He was free, or so he thought. All he wanted was Elif, a quiet life, a clean start. But the criminal world never lets go easily. The higher members of the organization made their decision. Murat had become a traitor, and traitors have only one punishment: death. Now he lies in an ambulance, badly wounded. The one who shot him was also a young man like him. Another lost soul trying to find life in crime and easy money. As Murat slowly closed his eyes, he thought of Elif. They would never marry. They would never have children. The life he dreamed of was taken from him. As ambulance sirens echoed through the Istanbul night, Murat took his last breath and silently closed the final page of his life.